This man took a picture of his wife, but his wife who was wearing a short dress in the photo but wore a fur coat. At first, the two thought it was a camera malfunction, until the wife retrieved a coat from an antique box. Then she went to the window and posed for a picture. This is exactly how it looks in the photo. The men were shocked and stood still, so the two decided to try again. This time the wife took a picture of the door. In the photo, a young man is pushing in the door. He was the woman's brother, but the brother simply cannot appear again, because he had just been sentenced to 7 years in prison. The man said there was something strange about this antique camera. That's when the door handle suddenly moved. It was the woman's brother. He says he escaped from prison tonight, and came to join his sister. The two men were so amazed that they couldn't say a word, and the brother opened the door in the exact same position as in the photo. The three of them had a discussion. Jack said this camera can take pictures 5 minutes later. Maybe we can do something meaningful with it. The couple was still imagining the future, while the brother Leo had turned on the TV. The TV was showing a horse racing program. Jack stood up excitedly, since the camera can capture what's happening 5 minutes later. Then they went to the scene of the horse race. Wouldn't they be able to foretell the outcome? So they took out all their money and went to the track to implement their plan. They arrived at the racecourse. The three of them calculated the time. They took a picture of the scoreboard. When the picture came out, it showed that the final result of the race was that number 6 would win. Jack rushed to place his bets. The race has begun. At the beginning, number 6 was in the middle of the pack, but before crossing the line number 6 suddenly accelerated and crossed the finish line first. They embraced each other happily. Then they looked at the scoreboard. Sure enough, it was the same as the previous photo. So they started the second race. This time they had more money to spend. Just take a picture before the start. There was no chance of failure, and so it went round after round. They bet more and more money. All judgments are accurate. They counted the money until their hands were cramped. Back home at night, Jack directly ordered a sports car. With this camera, the bottom of society has finally turned around. At that moment, the hotel waiter came to collect the plates. He was curious and fiddled with the camera on the table. Jack said this is a treasure you do not want to break. But the waiter asked if after taking 10 pictures, the camera can't be used after taking 10 pictures, right? Jack did not understand the meaning. The waiter said it was written in French. An owner can only have 10 photos. Jack suddenly panicked. After he asked the waiter to leave the room, Jack began to count the number of photos. He had taken 2 photos in the room for the experiment. 6 today at the racetrack. Now they only had 2 chances left. Jack immediately felt like going back to the racetrack tomorrow, but his wife wanted to save it for the future. At this point, Leo said he might as well sell the camera. The three of them then got into an argument. During the struggle, they inadvertently touched the shutter. Another photo was wasted. Jack was very angry. The photo came out and showed his wife screaming.
Why do you think she's screaming, Woodward? Tell you why she's screaming. She's screaming because somebody's trying to do something to her husband.
At this point, Jack pulled out a knife. Since the camera predicted that something bad would happen, he might as well do it first. He pushes his wife away from him and advances on Leo. The two men struggled to the window and became increasingly violent. Soon his wife arrived at the location in the photo. In the pushing and shoving, they fell out of the window. The woman also poses as in the photo. The loss of both her husband and brother was very painful for the woman.
However, we must muddle through these things. We must live with tragedy.
She picked up the camera again and went to the window.
Simply for posterity. May you both rest in peace.
Just as the woman was about to take the money and leave, the waiter from earlier barged in. He had been eavesdropping on their conversation. The waiter grabbed the cash from the table and stuffed it into his bag. The woman tried to call someone. The waiter said, "Your brother is a fugitive, right? When the police come, they will arrest you first." He took all the woman's money and belongings. He also forgot to take the bag from the woman's hand.
This one I will leave with you.
The waiter picked up the photos. He said there were more than 2 bodies in the photos. The woman ran to the window to look down, but she tripped on a wire and fell out of the window. The attendant was satisfied and came to the window.
Yes, there are more than 2 bodies down there. 1, 2, 3, 4.